the last several videos, I focused on types of wine and discussed and tasted with you white wines, rosé wines, and red wines. I've provided links to those videos, and if you haven't had the opportunity to view them, you can do so. In this video, I'm going to detour from types of wine and tell you how to set up and conduct a home wine taste. A home wine taste is a fun social event with friends and relatives. You can theme the wine taste such as ladies' night out, gentlemen's night out, couples' night out, or you may just want to introduce some new friends to old friends. It's a great icebreaker for that type of event as well. Next, you're going to have to determine how many wine tasters are going to be at my wine tasting. I would recommend no more than 12. Once you're over 12, you're going to have an additional bottle of each type of wine you're serving. Be aware of your wine taster's wine preferences. It will help you select the wines. You may match those wine preferences exactly to be sure that all the wine tasters really enjoy the wine you're serving. You may want to deviate just slightly and have some wines that are similar in class, style, and type. Now, you'll be sure some of your wine tasters are going to taste wines they probably have never tasted before. Or you may want to deviate drastically, and you'll be sure, if not all, most of your wine tasters are going to taste wines they haven't tasted before and would probably not purchase for themselves either. Next, let's talk a little bit about food. You're going to need food at your wine taste to compensate for the alcohol that's being consumed. The suggestions that I have are cheeses, crackers, bread, raw vegetables. Also be aware of any food restrictions your attendees may have, such as food allergies, or you may have a strict vegan attending your wine taste. If you're having a variety of cheeses, make sure you have a variety of knives, one for each type of cheese. They don't have to be regular cheese knives, any knife will do. You're going to have to choose between an unblinded and blinded tasting strategy. If you viewed my white wine and red wine videos, I used an unblinded tasting strategy to taste those wines. I don't think unblinded is a good match for just a fun social wine tasting. It's just too complicated. In an unblinded taste, the host is going to have to prepare for each wine that's being tasted a listing of the characteristics of that wine. Explain to people, use those characteristics to compare it to the wine you're tasting to see what you think about that wine. Again, I think it's for much more serious types of wine taste. I would recommend a blinded tasting. In a blinded tasting, the host hides from all the tasters the wine they're drinking. This creates a lot of fun, a great deal of conversation back and forth as they try to guess what wines they're drinking. Now determine whether you're going to have a vertical or a horizontal taste. In a vertical taste, all the wines of a particular type are the same wine. So for a red wine, all the red wines would be the same. And examples of vertical taste would be for white wine, a Riesling from the state of Washington, a Riesling from the state of New York, and a Riesling from Germany. A red wine example might be a Syrah from California, a Syrah from France, and a Syrah from Australia, where it's known as Shiraz. The fun element of a vertical taste is that the taster is going to be surprised about how similar yet how different the same wine can taste when it's produced in different locations around the world. In a horizontal taste, all the wines are different. A white wine example of a horizontal taste is a Riesling, a Chardonnay, and a Sauvignon Blanc. A red example might be a Syrah, a Cabernet Sauvignon, and a Merlot. Geography means nothing in a horizontal taste. All the wines are different. The fun part about that type of taste is that it gives the wine tasters the chance to taste a whole wide variety of wines, and a lot of wine tasters really have a lot of fun doing that. To determine how many bottles of wine you're going to need, if you have 6 or fewer tasters, 4 bottles. 6 to 8 tasters, 4 to 6 bottles. 8 to 12, 6 to 8 bottles. To help you with the math, a regular bottle of wine, 750 milliliters, or about 25 ounces. If you allow 5 to 6 ounce pours, a regular pour of wine glass, you can see just how many glasses you're going to get out of a bottle. The next thing you're going to have to determine is, do I have red wine, white wine, rosé wine, sparkling wine? Is it going to be dry? Is it going to be sweet? I would recommend a mix. The more mix you have, you're going to be sure that all your wine tasters are going to get to taste something that we really enjoy. Let's talk a little bit about the equipment you're going to need for your wine taste. The first thing I concern myself about is when am I presenting my wine in? I present my wine in carafes. These are the carafes that I use. These are glass. You can also get them in plastic. I've provided a link below where you can purchase these as glass carafes. With these carafes, I number my carafes and I number my bottles. You see I have a piece of tape on here and a number. On this carafe I have a little blackboard which I can write on and erase. So I number my carafes, I number my bottles. So carafe 1 has wine 1. You can also use beverage pitchers for the same thing. Number those just like I explained how to number the carafes. Another idea, if you don't have pitchers or carafes, just wrap your bottles in some nice wrapping paper. Be sure to number them and note somewhere what each bottle of wine is, what wrapping paper it has. The next thing you're going to have to worry about is glasses. You need 2 glasses for each wine taster. They can be a white wine and a red wine if you're having a mix of wines, or it can just be 2 wine glasses. I have a collection of glasses here. Let's talk about my plastic glasses first. I have a plastic on-stem glass and a plastic stem glass. I like to use stemmed glasses, but that's really immaterial in a fun social event. You can also purchase very inexpensively disposable plastic wine glasses, both on-stemmed and stemmed. I have 2 glass wine glasses here as well. This is a regular sized Bordeaux glass. This is a dessert wine glass. I like to use the dessert wine glasses because it gives me automatic portion control. That's important because everyone has to get a chance to get a taste of the wine. And if you can control portions, everyone's going to have that opportunity. I have a 2 to 3 ounce pour in this glass. That's all that's really needed in a wine taste. You don't need a 5 to 6 full glass pour for a wine taste. 2 to 3 ounces is sufficient. This looks like a lot of wine in this little dessert wine glass. If I pour this into my full-size Bordeaux glass, now I look at it, this doesn't look like very much wine. This size of glass will cause people to pour more wine than they need for a taste, and you're going to need more wine for your taste. I provided a link where you can purchase these dessert wine glasses as well. Next, you're going to need water glasses. A lot of people like to drink a little bit of ice water in between the different wines they're tasting. The water pitcher can also be used to rinse the glasses out, pour a little bit of water in here, swirl it around, and you're going to want to have something I call dump containers to dump that swirled wine out. I also recommend having a little bit of paper towels. There's always going to be a little residue left in the glass even after pouring it into the dump container. They can swab that out with a little bit of paper towel and throw that paper towel away. The next thing, and a lot of people forget about, is make sure you have enough refrigerator space to chill the wines that you're going to be chilling. Also, have a thermometer so you can check that you're serving your wines at the temperature you'd like to serve them at. I have a thermometer here which I've provided for the link below where you can purchase it. It wraps around the bottle, and on this black stripe it indicates the temperature of the wine in the bottle. The other thing you're going to need is make sure you have counter space because you're going to be decanting some of your wines. Make sure you allot enough decanting time and chilling time for your wines that you're going to be serving. Lastly, let's talk a little bit about logistics of the actual wine taste itself. Take the opportunity to mention to everybody about portion control. That will help the amount of wine you're serving allow everybody to get a chance to taste the wine. Next, tell them how you're actually going to do the wine taste. We're going to be tasting 6 bottles of wine. I'm going to be bringing them out each individually. We're going to have some white wine and red wine. I'm going to give you the white wine first. As a note for serving wine, always serve white wine before red wine. And within a type of wine, like white wine, serve dry white wine before sweet white wine. Then explain to them you're going to bring out each one of the wines and it's going to be passed around the table and everyone's to take a portion that they can taste. As they're tasting their wine, remind them of the tasting sheet, which I've also provided a link for, that you can download the tasting sheet. And on that tasting sheet they can make their mental notes right on paper as to what they think about that wine. It will also help them walk through tasting the wine as it is laid out how you taste the wine on the sheet. If someone asks you, I'm new to tasting wine, I've really never tasted wine before, how do I taste the wine? Very quickly, succinctly, and simply explain to them how to taste wine. Also remind them the tasting sheet will walk them right through the steps of tasting the wine. There's also probably going to be people at the table who've tasted wine before, and they can help that person as well. And remind the person they can always ask questions throughout the wine taste, and you'll be more than happy to answer them. After you've passed out all the wines and everyone's tasted all the wines, then bring out the carafes or whatever it is you presented the wines in and set those around the table. If everyone adheres to portion control, you're probably going to have a little wine of each type left. This will give people a chance to taste a wine they'd like to taste a second time. As they're getting that second chance at tasting wine and the conversation continues, start to bring out the actual wine bottles themselves, one at a time. Present the wine bottle, tell them the vineyard, where it's located, Germany, France, California, the vintage, if it's a vintaged wine, the alcohol content, what the wine is. Is it a Syrah? Is it a blend? If you know what the blend is, explain the blend. What the cost of the wine is and where you purchased it, if you did. A lot of people like to have that information. They may want to purchase that wine as well. You may even want to read the back where the winemaker actually has some comments, and they can compare the winemaker's comments to their notes that they put down on their wine tasting sheets. Then pass the bottles around so everyone can actually hold and look at the bottle. That also helps them if they want to purchase that wine. As they're doing that and the conversation continues and all the wine bottles have been passed out, I always, to end the evening, offer a small dessert. It doesn't have to be much. I also offer coffee, tea, or water. This allows everybody to just slowly settle down, let the conversation continue, and everybody can have a little bit of a rest. Once everyone's been rested well, the wine taste has come to an end, the last thing you need to do is be sure everyone is safe to go home. As a note, the average adult without food drinks 2 regular sized glasses of wine, 5 to 6 ounce pours, will be over the legal limit for driving in all states. So you want to be sure everyone is safe to go home. I've also provided a link to download a wine taste checklist. That checklist will walk you through all the things I've discussed in this video so that you can be sure that your wine taste is going to be a success. I really would like you to take the opportunity to have a home wine taste. It is so much fun, and I really hope your wine taste is a great success. I hope you found this informative. In my next video, I'm going to go back to types of wine, and I'm going to focus on sparkling wines. I hope to see you then, and as always, raise a glass and have a drink.